This final weekend of Pride Month is a good time to acknowledge how far the LGBTQ plus community has come and to recognize the new challenges we face, spanning from a potential second Trump term in Project 2025 to looming threats from the Supreme Court. Joining me now to discuss the state of LGBTQ plus rights in our country, James Black, President and CEO of Family Equality, Kiara Johnson, Executive Director of the National LGBTQ Task Force, and Kelly Robinson, President of the Human Rights Campaign. I am just squealing over all this Black queer excellence on the screen right now. So I'm going to go around the table, and I'm going to start with you, Kelly, because you are not here. How concerned are you about the fate of marriage equality?
Look, anybody looking at the Supreme Court wouldn't feel confident that this is a court that's going to make sure that they protect the rights that we've gained over the last several decades. I mean, you don't have to look further than their overturning of Roe v. Wade, where in one fell swoop, they took away 50 years of precedent that protected our rights. So moving ahead, there's two things that are clear for me. One, that the Supreme Court is on the ballot this election cycle. And two, that any of our rights that are protected through Supreme Court precedent are fragile. And that means that we've got to move forward deeper and stronger protections through legislation and law. Some of that's been done through things like the Respect for Marriage Act, but we have a long way to go.
And, Kiara, to that point, the Munoz case that was decided by the Supreme Court arguably was a case about immigration. But Justice Amy Coney Barrett, writing for the majority, turned this immigration case into a marriage case and denying a visa to the El Salvadorian national husband of a U.S. citizen whose daughter is also a U.S. citizen, and saying basically there is no fundamental right for this married person to have their spouse in the country, which strikes right at the heart of the Obergefell decision. And this was a big red flag that Justice Sotomayor pointed out in her dissent. How worried should the community be that Obergefell is maybe a Supreme Court term or two away from being overturned?
I mean, I think we've got to do more than be afraid. I think we've got to really move towards action. I think what we've been able to see is how connected, how linked our fates are. There is no issue that people care about: immigration, housing, prison reform, that does not directly and often uniquely impact LGBTQ people. And so this is a community, these are community issues. These are LGBTQ issues, but they're also American issues. And we've got to get out and really be counted, not just for the election, but locally, school board elections and state houses, et cetera. So now's the time to galvanize for sure.
James, what do you make of all this?
We should be worried, right? So one of the key focus areas of our policy work is marriage, is protecting the right to marriage. And so here we see where the majority has used one area of law, immigration, to impact a seemingly unrelated area of law, marriage equality. And it has some immediate impacts to LGBTQ plus families, again, the work that we do at Family Equality, like forced separation. It could actually have the impact of having a person who's LGBTQ plus move to another country that criminalizes homosexuality, right? Or where their marriages are not protected. It has immediate impacts to our families. And the other thing is, we are not looking at this case in isolation. It's exactly what Kiara is saying. All of this is connected. We're looking at this as a broader step to implementing the goals of Project 2025.
And Project 2025 is that plan, that project out of the Heritage Foundation that is looking at a wholesale reorganization, not just of the government, but of the country. Kelly, this week, the court announced that it's going to hear an appeal by the Biden administration that it gets put the court in the debate over gender affirming care for transgender minors. How concerned? When I first saw the news, I got very concerned that the Supreme Court is going to wade in on this issue. But then, because it's the Biden administration that is calling for this case to be heard, should I not be as worried?
Look, it's the last day of Pride Month. I thought we were going to do some happy Pride things, but
Jonathan, no. We will get there. Just answer this question.
Okay. All right. Well, look, again, the Supreme Court is not an institution right now that people are feeling very confident in, which is why I think that there's so much worry and concern. At the end of the day, right now, there is a ban on gender-affirming care, on health care access for trans people in some states, particularly in Tennessee, where this case comes from. So the Supreme Court hearing it is actually an opportunity for them to side on the side of facts and uphold the Constitution and uphold the rule of law by not allowing the ban that is currently in place to continue. So there's a little bit of a silver lining here. But I also want to say this. We have a Supreme Court that currently has not been doing their job. They have been creating laws and legislating through their decisions instead of upholding the Constitution and upholding laws as they are. So our job right now is to tell our stories, to bring more visibility to what this case is all about, and make sure that when they are in oral arguments, when they are actually hearing the facts, that there's enough room for them to do their job in upholding the rule of law. Because at the end of the day, when you look at this case, what it's trying to do is legalize discrimination in healthcare for certain people based on their gender identity. That's not right. And the majority of Americans do not want politicians deciding their healthcare for them. We learned that time and time again.
Right.
So as people are looking at this, I know that there's a lot of concern and worry, but I have to have you remember that we are not without hope, and we are certainly not without power. And there is something that we can do about it to all of these things that are causing us such concern and worry.
Well, you know, James, to Kelly's point, because she said, I thought this was going to be a happy conversation. Well, I mean, talk about some happy things that the community should be happy about.
You know, I think the community should be happy that we are still making progress, right? In the midst of this barrage of anti-LGBTQ plus legislation, that although we are sort of in this defensive posture, right? We're just sort of battling all these laws and all these bills. We are still making progress. I think about the historic settlement that we just won over Florida, the Florida Don't Say Gay law, where we were able to come to a settlement that nullifies the most harming aspects of that bill. Essentially, you can say gay now in Florida. I think that's something that we should be proud of, right? I think that there are ways that we are being proactive and not just fighting laws, but also thinking about what are the ways in which we can start to implement legislation that helps our families. And the Biden administration is a great demonstration of that. We should be proud and we should be happy, and we should also know all of the work that this administration has done to protect our families.
Kira?
We've been out during Pride season, right, all month long, and it's been really inspiring for me to see prides grow this year. You look at Houston, you look at Phoenix, Kissimmee, Florida. There are places who are having their very first pride this year, and some of them are growing 3, 4, 5, and 6 times. That is telling us that we're not shrinking away, but actually our base is growing, not just in numbers, but in active, in action, right? And so that's a telling story. That is not people that are looking to hide or shrink away, but they are hungry to be in this fight.
People not hiding or shrinking away, but also, am I in hearing what you just said, is it also allies are coming out and joining us and basically saying to their communities and therefore to the country, by your example, you are not alone.
It's a family affair. Teachers, listen, administrators, parents, aunties, we are out in these streets, grandmas supporting our family, and we're only getting stronger.
Kelly, I'm going to give you 20 seconds, and we're already over time, but give me your happy talk at the end of Pride.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a beautiful thing. And I'm very clear that people are worried because it felt like equality was inevitable for so long. And now we're experiencing the backlash that comes when you start to move forward your rights and your power. And it's happening not because the LGBTQ plus community is weak, but because we are powerful. So our job right now is to not lose sight of our power. There are 75 million voters that prioritize LGBTQ plus issues when deciding who to vote for. 75 million. If we show up, we win. Period. So this is one of those moments where even though things are dark and scary in some places, we cannot lose sight of hope and we cannot lose sight of our power, because we are on the precipice of change that really can save and protect and advance our rights for generations to come.
What was that, Kira? Period. Do that again.
Period.
Period. Kelly Robinson, Kira Johnson, James Black, thank you all very much for coming to the Sunday Show.
Thank you.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.